What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. Today, we're going to be going over the top 5 running back sleepers for the 2018 fantasy football season. Our daily reminder, before we get into that, the giveaway, 8x10 Martavis Bryant picture. All you got to do to be entered into that is subscribe to the channel and then follow both me and Dare on Twitter. Our handles are in the description box below. That's where the giveaway will be going on. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and follow us on Twitter. Also, before we start, PFF stat of the day. Since today is running backs, figured, hey, let's go for a running back this time. Who? Now, this is for every stat. So for their receiving grade, for their rushing grade, their blocking grade, and penalty grade, and of course, overall grade, but you can imagine if you're negative in all of them, you'll be negative for your overall grade. Who had a negative 0.5 grade in all of those? Only running back. Receiving grade, rushing grade, blocking grade, and penalty grade. All of them negative 0.5 or below according to Pro Football Focus. Who is it? Only for last season, obviously. This isn't for their career. So who is that? Tell us. Tell us in the comment section below. First one to get it right gets on the board. Yesterday's stat of the day goes yet again, Xanet Serif. Who was the worst pass blocking tight end in the league? The answer was Tyler Higbee. Literally, I think half of the guesses. It was insane. Maybe more than half the guesses were Ebron. And there were some other good guesses in there, some that got close. But Ebron, every single person that wrote a comment wrote Eric Ebron, it felt like. Not the answer, and he actually didn't have that bad of a grade. Did not have that bad of a pass blocking grade. So maybe he's not as bad as you guys think. I still think he's not the greatest, but Tyler Higbee, that was the answer. So just one more reminder, today's stat of the day, put it in the comment section below. First one to answer correctly gets on the board. Let's start off with this video and Peyton Barber. Now, I'll say that he's not my favorite on the list. I'll say that if I had to rank the top 5, he would be 5th in my personal preference, just how I draft late. I believe that he has a lot of upside, but his path to it is with injuries. And I prefer to draft players who don't need an injury to make that path. I do think he would need Ronald Jones to get hurt to break out. But this is a sleepers video, and he is being slept on. He's going as running back 57. I have him as 43. Sims is like the passing down back, what you think of when you think of the Bucs. But he was 54th in pass receiving grade last season, according to Pro Football Focus. He was not good. And he has great metrics, but he just hasn't really produced. I mean, we loved him a few years ago, but he just hasn't done anything. He has the ability to, but he just hasn't. We already know Jones can't catch. And Barber wasn't that great of a receiver in college himself, but he showed an ability late last season. And I think that's very important that he showed the coaching staff that ability. He's slimmed down this offseason. He said he can run a 4.5 40 now. So if he can get goal line in what I believe will be a pretty good offense, and we've already seen he's a capable running back, 69 rushing yards per game over the final 5 weeks last season. So if he can add in just a few receptions here and there, some goal line work, some early down work, which I think will happen. Jones is still a little bit raw coming out. I'm not going to say he's bad at all, and I think Jones is a good pick as well. Better in standard, but I think he's a decent pick. But Barber going this late as your last pick, I mean, why not? Why? He's a guy that during buys you can throw in your flex. Absolutely. This offense is going to be good, and they're going to score touchdowns. So I think that he's a good pick. Just not someone I'm really pumped about the upside for, because again, he has it. It's just he needs an injury for it to happen. So that's basically it on Barber. Again, I like the pick, but it's not someone I'm pumped about getting late. I just think that he is a sleeper because people aren't drafting him really. I mean, 57, that's like the last round. I think it's a great value. Moving on to Kenneth Dixon, a guy I'm a lot more excited about, a guy that potentially you could drop by week 3. I mean, that is in his range of outcomes. He could be dropped by week 3. He could be one of the steals of the draft. We just don't know at this point. We've seen him be good, but again, he was suspended and then hurt last year. So he played his rookie season. He was great. But then we haven't seen him, And people were all over him last year, but then Alex Collins does well, and all of a sudden he can't do anything. Just can't draft him. 92nd percentile college dominator rating, 69th percentile college target market share, 8th best Pro Football Focus run grade in 2016. He was 11th in yards per carry after contact and led the league in missed tackles per attempt. This dude's elusive, he's a good pass catcher, and he's a good runner. 0.3 missed tackles per attempt. Next best in the entire league was 0.25. He's still only 24. He has the potential to beat out Collins, and he's going undrafted, as in he has no chance. Regardless of any sort of battle, he's the second best running back on that team. So why is he going undrafted? I mean, we're taking like Duke Johnson's and stuff. Why, like early? We're taking Duke Johnson, what, the 8th round? Why doesn't he get a pick in the 14th? So I think he's got a ton of upside. I think he's an excellent pick. That's exactly what you go for in those later rounds, especially if we're not drafting defense and kicker. Because remember, if you don't draft those two, you still will have to add them before the season starts. Draft Dixon. And then if your draft is like 2 weeks before the season, just wait and just see what news comes out and see if he takes that role. You'll eventually have to drop 2 players, and maybe you have to end up dropping him. But I think he's worth a roster spot early in the season just to see what happens. If he's not getting any work by like week 3, just cut him loose for whoever's hot on the waiver wire. But I think he's an excellent pick for the upside. Next, Nyheim Hines. I really like this pick. And again, going as running back 58, so that's really towards the end of the draft. A lot of times not going drafted. Depends on what size league you're in. Not in standard. I always give my opinion based on PPR because that's what most people play, and that's what I think everyone should play. But in a standard league, I would say the upside's pretty capped. But in a PPR league, the upside's there. I mean, maybe he doesn't have RB1 upside unless everyone just gets hurt on the offense. But he's a running back tethered to Andrew Luck. I mean, we need to remember that. Luck is more than likely coming back. And if he does, he's more than likely going to be the same Andrew Luck we've always seen. So you've got what should be a really good offense. You've got the receiving back on that offense. I mean, we all know that, like, Mac's the starter, right? You know that Hines isn't going to take the early down work. That's just not who he is. And Wilkins could come in there for some early downs, yeah, but Wilkins can't catch. And Wilkins went around later than Hines. And we all know the coaching staffs actually look at that. They say, oh, this guy was drafted, around before. We got to give him the work first. And Wilkins can't catch, so, I mean, it's not really an issue. So Hines is the third down back. Mac more than likely is the first and second down back, and then will be spelled for Wilkins a few times. But if Hines takes all of the third down work with an 88th percentile college target market share, with an 98th percentile speed score, converted running back from the slot in 2017. Remember, he was a receiver in college, and then he converted to the slot, or he converted from the slot to running back. They could conceivably roll him out there as a wide receiver sometimes. But he's going to be a great pass catcher and has running back 2 upside in PPR. If he gets that third down role, and we know that going into the season, I'm all over him. If we don't know that, I'm all over him. Because if we do end up receiving this news, his value is going to rise. I mean, people are going to start drafting him earlier. Which then, I'll start drafting him earlier. But if we don't hear, and he stays at this ADP, I'll swoop all over that. I have him as running back 50. I think that that's going to move up a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see how that moves through the end of the offseason. Fourth on the list is another guy I really like the value on, Giovanni Bernard. Now, we know if Mixon's around that he's the guy they want to be the guy. He's who they're going to give the opportunity to be the bell cow. Could Mixon get hurt? Yes, but we don't predict that. So I think he has standalone value. Even if Mixon's out there, he has value. And then, obviously, if Mixon gets hurt, this guy shoots up to like a high end 2. But I wanted to show you something that Bernard has been really good over his career. If you watch the Bengals play, and I know it's painful sometimes, but you watch the Bengals play, Bernard looks like a very good running back. Mixon last season, expected yards per carry. And this was an article that Scott Barrett wrote at the believe it was like a few months ago. I'll link in the description. I think it's a really good read. Mixon's expected yards per carry was 3.85, which, right, looking at that, I mean, you go, oh, well, the offensive line was bad. That's why he did bad. But he actually got 3.52. So he had the 12th worst differential. If you look at the differential between what he should have done and what he did in yards per carry, 12th worst. Bernard's expected yards per carry was a little over 4, and he got 4.36, which was the 10th best differential. Bernard was a good running back last season, and we all know that he's a very good pass catcher. He was also the 4th highest graded pass blocker. He had a 90th percentile college target market share. Bernard also had only 1 less missed tackle on 73 less attempts. He is essentially Duke Johnson. Giovanni Bernard is Duke Johnson that's going at running back 52. So I think that's an excellent pick. He's going to produce points for you early in the season if you happen to leave out running back. Like if you're someone who likes to go tight end or quarterback early and you just want to get a ton of wide receivers, he's a guy that you could conceivably use early in the year. Now, I wouldn't recommend it. I think he's best used as a bye-week fill-in, but he's got upside and he's going to produce. So I think he's being slept on this season. The last running back that we're going to put on this list is Nick Chubb. And he's the earliest of anyone, but I think he is being slept on a little bit. And I know I put out the video on the Browns, and I want to address that because my views are changing a little bit on Chubb. I believe that in the NFL, talent does win out. Now, I know coaching staffs are typically awful. They're just not good. They're terrible at evaluating the players they have. They're terrible at using their draft picks. They're just not good. But they have to know that Chubb is the best running back on that team. They have to know that. 89th percentile height adjusted speed score, 91st percentile burst score, 96th percentile bench press, 98th percentile SparkX score. We know the receptions are probably not going to be there. He does not have a reception ceiling, and that's why he's going so late. But I think what's happening is two things are happening. One is that people hear that over and over and over again. And it's the same thing in DFS. When someone brings something up and every single person is touting the same thing, Duke Johnson's the third down back, no receiving upside. They have Carlos Hyde. You're going to hear that over and over and over and over again over the summer, and that's why his ADP is not going to rise unless he does something crazy in the preseason. That's the reason. But what people also don't remember sometimes is the second thing, he's playing with Sonny Michel. That's who's getting the receiving work. So obviously he's a 35th percentile college target market share. He's playing with an excellent receiving back. Why would they use Chubb in the receiving game? He's a much better pass catcher than Carlos Hyde. We already know that. Carlos Hyde's an awful pass catcher. So if Duke Johnson's not on the field, it's going to be Chubb. If they use Chubb in an offense that should be improved with Gordon and Landry and Njoku coming through, they should have more scoring chances. So if he's probably going to get the goal line work and he's the best running back on that team and they have a decent offensive line, he has potential to be in there on some third downs. And if Duke Johnson were to get hurt, this guy's probably a mid to high running back too. If Duke Johnson gets hurt and he takes over third down roles. So that's the upside you're getting in the 9th round. So I don't think he's as much of a quote-unquote sleeper as some of the people on this list, but he's being slept on because that's not where he should be going, is running back 41. But that's a product of what people hear everywhere. We all know that you need receptions in PPR leagues, but we don't know how they're going to use him. We don't know. And it's that unknown that brings in his upside. So remember that when you're in this range. Yes, he didn't get a ton of receptions in college, but look who he was playing with. And now he goes to a new situation, and we just don't know. Do I think they're going to use Duke Johnson on third down? Probably. But is there a chance they don't? And is there a chance that Duke gets hurt? Or is there a chance that Chubb's just good enough on early downs, like that he only needs 20 receptions to keep up? Absolutely. He's going to finish as higher than running back 41. I have missed 31. I think that is a perfectly fair ranking. So that's the top 5. That is the end of the video. Hope you guys did enjoy. Remember the giveaway. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thanks for watching.